Magandang araw, everyone. Hello po. Welcome to SS084. This is Religions, Religious Experience, and Spirituality. Ako po ang inyong magiging online facilitator. This is Sir Erlen de Vera Palayan, and today we will be having our first discussion. And our first topic will be concentrating on Hinduism. And as we start our discussion on Hinduism, may I just remind you all that our topics in our courses right now will be referring to the seven major world religions at the moment. Okay, so this will be inclusive of Hinduism. The next one will be about Buddhism. And then after that, we'll be covering Taoism and then Confucianism. And then the last three religions that we'll be covering are um, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And without further ado, let me now start our discussion on Hinduism. And as we start, our coverage of this topic will be concentrating on the history first of the religion, the history of Hinduism, of course, and then we will be looking at the basic doctrines as well of Hinduism. And lastly, we will look at the influence of the religion in Asia and the world. As we move along, let's first proceed with the history of Hinduism. Did you know that the Hindus call the religion as the oldest religion in the world? Now, this religion started in the Indus River Valley civilization and the Ganges River civilization. Now, if you don't know, most civilizations actually started in the riverbanks. Now, the reason behind this because mas madali pong mabuhay kapag ang lugar mo ay malapit sa tubig. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why most of the civilizations were actually very much close to bodies of water. Now, the word Hindu comes from the Aryan word Zindu, which they used to refer to the Indus River, and it does not have one prominent man as a founder, meaning when you speak of Hinduism as a religion, it does not necessarily point out to a specific person uh, as a founder. Now, today, there are um, more than a billion Hindus. Many nations and empires actually have invaded India, but they were not able to wipe out Hinduism. So you talk about the Persians who have their own religion, which is Zoroastrianism, and then you have the Greeks, okay, and they worship Zeus, and then you have the Moguls having their religion of Islam, and then you have the Portuguese, of course. Definitely, we know these Portuguese people as Catholics, and also we have the British colonizers who are definitely Protestants, at least in their faith. But these colonizers failed to convert the majority of the Indians, and so as of the moment, there are more than a billion Hindus. You have to consider as well, people, that India is actually a very populated country. Next to China, this is the most populated country in the world. And Hinduism is considered as the third largest religion in the world. Of course, the first is Christianity. When you talk about Christianity, this is a combination of those who believe in Jesus Christ. So you have the Catholics and the Protestants combined. The second one is Islam, and the third is Hinduism. Now, for Hindus, Hinduism is not only a religion, but a way of life. Now, the one of the most fascinating things about Hinduism is that these faith has a belief in 60 million gods. But even though they have, though they've got a lot of uh, uh, entities or persons perhaps to worship, they can actually choose to be monotheistic. So they can choose from those 60 million gods and they will just worship one god out of those 60. They can either be monotheistic or they can be polytheistic and worship all those 60 million gods. And in Hinduism, they have no ecclesiastical order, meaning they got no formal weekly worship like a mass. They have no governing body. And in fact, they also got no prophets. As we continue now, we will be looking at the basic doctrines of Hinduism. Now, they have four goals in life. Hinduism has a belief in these four goals in life called as Purusaratas. The first one is what we call as the Dharma. The second one is the Artha. third one is kama, and the last one is moksha. Now, when we speak about dharma, it's all about doing good works. It's all about the duties, the responsibilities of Hindus. The second one is the artha. So you talk about the concept of prosperity, the concept of working, trying to at least be affluent, to be rich and whatnot. And then the third one is called as kama. Tamang tama, di ba? Kama, you talk about sexual pleasure and whatnot. You talk about enjoying the pleasures of life, particularly sexual pleasures. And last one is the moksha, okay, or pursuing nirvana, the liberation from the cycle of a birth and rebirth called as samsara. Now, they believe in samsara, which is the cycle of rebirth. Okay, so you talk about the concept of reincarnation, if we may say. Now, perhaps as of the moment, you can be a human being, but you can be a cockroach in the next life, or you could have been a monkey in your previous life. Now, Hindus refrain from killing or hurting animals, even insects, because they believe animals have souls that are part of the samsara, or the cycle of rebirth. And it could be the souls of their forefathers as well. They believe in karma, which is, as we know, the consequences for one's actions. And the life that you will have next later on is definitely very much consequential of the kind of life that you have at the moment. Because again, when we speak of karma, this speaks of the consequences for one's actions, where your next life will depend on what you do in your current life. They also believe in yoga. They practice yoga to attain moksha, which is again the liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. When we speak of yoga, this is a Hindu discipline which trains the body and mind for health, tranquility, peace, and spiritual insight. This is done through a system of postures and exercises. When we speak of yoga, it is not only about postures and exercises, but this is done definitely with the concept of meditation. They also believe in nirvana, which is the ultimate state of liberation from the cycle of rebirth, where perfect unselfishness and knowledge of the self is attained, and they also attain perfect mental peace, detaching themselves from worldly desires. This is freedom from sorrow and suffering. And once they have attained nirvana, then that's the moment that the cycle of birth and rebirth will end, at least as part of their faith. Now, they also believe in devas and avatars. When we talk about deva, this is equivalent of the English word God. Okay, female version of deva is devi. Others use the term devata, or in our language at the moment, since we borrowed the word diwata from the Indians, from the Sanskrit. And also they believe in avatars. And when we speak of avatars, this is a god who descended heaven to earth in bodily form. Examples of avatars are Vishnu. These are gods in Hinduism, Rama and Krishna. Now, they also got rituals, festivals, and pilgrimages. When we speak of rituals, Hindus rarely engage in corporate worship, so they don't really gather together in worship of their 60 million gods. However, uh, they personally give worship, okay, to their gods, whoever they wish to be their gods at home, and they do personal rituals. Mostly, they do yoga and lighting of candles and images of their personal gods. They also got a few festivals a few times a year. So, two of the most popular, perhaps, if you are familiar, of the festivals of Hinduism are the Festival of Lights and the Color Run. Also, they got pilgrimage. Hindus believe in the holiness of the Ganges River, and they try to go there every year to bathe because they believe that they will attain a higher degree of purity if they do so. Now they also have this concept of the third eye. They believe in the third eye, and the Hindus believe in millions of gods and spirits that are just about everywhere. They believe humans have a third eye to see the spirit world. They also believe in ahimsa. When we talk about ahimsa, this is the concept of non-violence or respect for all of life, because divinity. And when we talk about divinity, you talk about the divine is believed to permeate all beings. Okay, they permeate in all beings. They try to achieve things in non-violent ways. Just for example, the case of Mahatma Gandhi, okay, who used to try to get independence from the British. Okay, so parts of ahimsa is the non-hurting of animals. As we already know, they don't really hurt animals because they believe that the souls perhaps of their forefathers might be there. Okay, most especially of cows. Okay, so some Hindu denominations adhere to a vegetarian diet because of ahimsa, because they believe that they are not supposed to kill, okay, living beings. Some scholars also say that the caste system is part of Hinduism, while others say it isn't, it's just a tradition. And when we talk about the caste system, this is where we actually got the word outcast, okay, in English. Now, there are four social classes in the caste system. You have the Brahmin, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the merchants. And when you talk about the Brahmins, definitely they are on top of the caste system, and they are the priests and teachers, the religious teachers of the law. Next in line in the caste system are the Kshatriyas, or the warriors and kings. The next one are the farmers and the merchants, and the last one, the lowest part of the system, are the Shudras, or the laborers and servants. Now, you have to look at the picture on screen right now on your left, and you will see the Dalits, or the outcast. They are not part of the caste system. That's the reason why they are called as outcast. They are out of the caste system. Now, they have um, the dirtiest jobs, okay, in the caste system, because they are the street sweepers, the latrine cleaners, and whatnot. Okay. And as we continue on now, do you remember the movie Avatar? Because if you do, the movie Avatar was actually inspired by the doctrine of Hinduism. Okay, for example, you talk about the influence of Hinduism to Filipinos. We also believe, many of us believe in karma, the Filipino expression makakarma ka rin. So that's very much inclusive of the doctrine of karma of Hinduism. The belief in reincarnation and the past lives. Say, for example, some gays would say that they were girls in their past lives, perhaps. The concept also of soulmates is Hindu in origin. Two compatible souls got lost in the past and are trying to find one another in the modern times after passing through several reincarnation cycles through the centuries. Okay, also you talk about the color run, okay, which is very much of a fad these days. Now, some Indians would say that the caste system does not exist anymore in South Asia. However, in some documentaries that I watch, there are still traces of the caste system in the South Asian region. Hindus also believe that they have to bathe in the Ganges River, okay, because that is very much purifying to them, even though it is very much polluted. Now, being vegetarians and doing yoga became worldwide fad. Also, the Beatles got interested in Hinduism, and they actually tried it back in the late 1960s during the heyday of the Beatles, and also the expression the holy cow, okay, actually came from Hinduism. Believe in the third eye, the word devata, and devil are derived from the Hindu terms devata, and um, Devi. Now, we have to understand, though, that Hinduism has no central doctrinal authority, unlike, say, for example, the Catholics, who have the Vatican, okay, as the seat of power, the seat of papacy of the Catholic Church. However, the doctrines of Hinduism came from first oral teachings passed on from generation to generation, and another is an ancient piece of literature called the Vedas, which the Brahmins, the teachers of law, the priest, actually use. And this wraps up our discussion on Hinduism. This is again Sir E, now signing off.